Some prey can only be hunted by the Black Panther.
Hello, Mr. So-and-so here. I want to talk about my range build for Black Panther. It's doing pretty well on a cosmic difficulty, no matter if solo or co-op, maybe even better for co-op because it's actually beneficial to your teammates. I struggled a bit with the cosmic trial, and a bit is probably an understatement. It needed some adjustment, in particular with the gear, so I will be talking about that a little, but there will be also a video in the description of me beating the cosmic trial, so I hope that helps you in getting through it on a ranged build. We will be looking at the powers, the talents, the synergies, and of course the gear, and in the end I will be fighting Pyro on cosmic difficulty, so you get a basic understanding of how the build works in action. One thing though to keep in mind, Panther tends to run out of spirit, so you have to compensate for that with gear and also synergies if possible. Yeah, that's one of the big downsides, in particular in the beginning when you are lacking the gear. Now let's start with the powers. We have triple throw, being range, energy, throw and knife. Your non-spirit spender. A backup move that you won't be using very much, but it's nice for when you run out of spirit. It also does additional damage to chilled enemies, but we won't be taking advantage of that. We have jungle snare, thanks to a talent. It's a ranged power now. It deals damage to the enemies that are standing in it and also lowers their defenses. So great move overall, and only an 8-second cooldown. We have Stealthy Escape, our regular dodge move, but it gives 3 seconds of stealth, so it's very great for being in a tight spot, and in particular it's a godsend during the cosmic trial. Also, if you have gear that gives you additional damage on stealth, that is something you might want to consider. Then we have Unseen Predator. It's concealing yourself and nearby allies. It gives you critical hit rating, also more bonuses due to a talent. We will be looking at that in a bit. The duration of 5 seconds invisibility, the great thing, it doesn't break on attack like, for instance, a regular stealth roll. So it's great for you and your teammates because you can attack enemies without them noticing you. Now, our L2 powers. One of the most important ones, the signature move Wrath of Bast. It summons Bast, it's a radial attack, and in addition, due to a talent, it summons 2 Wakandan bodyguards for 12 seconds. A great damage dealer, and definitely one of the most important parts of this build. Then we have our main damage dealer, Fan of Knives, ranged knife throw, unfortunately not energy. It throws a fan of daggers in front of you. It has additional damage on the central knife, so if you're fighting bosses or elites, position yourself in a way that you can actually make the central part of the fan hit the enemy for the additional damage. Then we have Cryo Dagger. It freezes the first enemy it hits. It hits 2 times for direct hits, and it's also slowing surrounding enemies. The talent is the great thing, though. When you use Cryo Dagger, your next Fan of Knives within 6 seconds will brutally strike. Definitely a great thing, and definitely you want to take advantage of using Cryo Dagger and then Fan of Knives for the additional damage. Then we have, as the last power, the Mobile Minefield. Apart from the other ranged powers, the only one I found useful, I didn't like the evasive throw or the vibranium trap because it actually moves you out of the way and the damage isn't too impressive either. Mobile Minefield is mostly important for groups. The problem with it is you throw a square of mobile mines. They only trigger when the enemies get very close. So if a boss is standing still, the mines surrounding the boss won't actually trigger. But it does some additional damage, so it's definitely better than nothing. The talents. Triple throw deals 75% more damage and costs spirit. That is a possibility if you definitely can manage your spirit. If you have problems because you're still lacking the gear, definitely don't pick this talent. The problem though is in the first section you don't have other talents being beneficial to the build. Just pick anything because it doesn't affect you at all if you want to avoid the spirit cost. The second one is Reaping Fangs, like already talked about, probably the most important one. When you use Cryo Dagger, your next Fan of Knives will be a Brutal Strike. We have Wakandan Will for Unseen Predator. It activates automatically if you fall below 30 health, but as you will be using that as a damage dealer, you will mostly have it on cooldown, and therefore it won't trigger. The important thing is the additional bonuses. It gives brutal strike chance, it gives spirit cost reduction, and health on hit. So that is actually why we picked that talent. We have Patient Hunter turning Jungle Snare into a ranged move, and also gives it additional damage. The remove of damage over time from Savage Strike doesn't affect us at all, it's a melee power. And for Pride of Wakanda, that's a Wrath of Bast talent. It summons, like already said, the 2 Wakandan bodyguards for 12 seconds. They do some nice damage, they take aggro from you, definitely a good thing to go for. The ultimate, also nice to just keep that loaded for group play, because you can revive nearby allies. You don't have to be interacting with them in any way, like when there are enemies and you can't revive them, just use the ultimate and they will instantly be revived by that. Now, for the synergies, I tried to go with pretty universal ones. There might be actually ways to improve on that, but this seems to be working very well so far. We have Angela giving 2.5 cooldown power damage and speed. Most important, of course, the cooldown power damage. We have Black Widow giving melee and range power damage. This is nice because apart from our ranged moves, Wrath of Bast is actually considered an energy and melee move, so you will benefit for all your range attacks and your signature move. Blade for health on hit and attack speed. Cyclops mostly for spirit on an enemy defeat, but also of course for the energy damage. That's nice for Panther, apart for Fan of Knives, unfortunately, because it's not considered energy. We have Daredevil for the additional damage to normal enemies and elites, and the additional melee damage. That's at least nice for the signature move again. Hawkeye for the critical damage, and the movement speed is a nice addition. We have Iron Fist for hand-to-hand power, helping again Wrath of Bast, and in addition health regeneration, which is the most important part. If you want another character with health regeneration, that would be Deadpool. Unfortunately, his second talent is explosives, so that won't be beneficial to you, but if you want the health regen and don't have Iron Fist, just go with Deadpool. Luke Cage, 2% defense rating multiplier. Nice because Panther is really squishy, and you have a 1 durability attribute. Then we have She-Hulk for the additional health, and again health regeneration, definitely helping. Squirrel Girl, probably part of every synergy build because of the additional boss damage, definitely nice to have, and she's a cheap character. And that's it for the synergies. I won't be going through the infinity points because you should actually be able to figure that out yourself. I can only tell you that what I've been using for the Cosmic Trial was additional signature move damage from the Reality Gem, and otherwise, considering that was my highest damage potential, 5% chance to deal additional mental damage. But that's probably not as important as the build. Now let's look at the gear. My bad. Let's look at the gear. Legendary, of course, Golden Bow of Apollo. Takes forever to level, but it will be definitely worth it. For the Catalyst, try to get something with either additional spirit, but better, of course, when you hit with the power, gain 5 spirit. 1 second cooldown, this is already nice. And what I have here is using the med kit actually restores 100 spirit. So that is definitely something you want to look for, so you can restore your spirit on med kit use. The relic is pretty self-explanatory, of course, Xandar. Either use the ones you have, or if you can get it or trade it, get the complete one for the +1 to all attributes. Try to focus, of course, on brutal or critical strike, mostly, and
Hesitation is unwise.
thank you, Panther. And in addition, things that restore spirit, that always helps. Also, now with Cosmic Trial out of the way, I'm trying to go for Plague and fire damage over time, but more on that later. As you can see again, Brutal's damage rating and critical damage rating on this gear give it damage to ranged powers, to throw powers. That is definitely something that works. Again, when you pick up an orb, gain full spirit recovery. Very nice for Panther. Restore 30 spirit again. So I would definitely emphasize this over pure damage. And there we go. We have the chance to apply Plague to a target, causing physical damage, 7,336 over 3 seconds. I have a second piece of equipment with Plague damage. I still have to figure out if it actually stacks if you use 2. Not sure about that. Up to that point, I will be sticking with the Spirit on enemy defeat. For the medallion, you want Pyro if you are not doing the Cosmic Trial, because it really does consistent fire damage of 9,000 something points for 3 seconds. It can proc several times on the same enemy over and over again. The only problem, it only procs on one enemy, so for groups in particular in the Cosmic Trial, the Mandarin Medal might be better. It's lower damage overall, but it applies all the time. On ranged attack, it gives you 10 seconds of additional range damage, but it's only 100 and something. But it was definitely better for the Cosmic Trial. Now, the artifacts, of course, this is something that is down to luck. But all my artifacts here drop from patrols, which is a good thing, I guess. The Advanced Kree Hyper Optics, they drop pretty regularly. They give you more range damage power, they give you energy damage power, and you have a chance to slow enemies. Definitely nice. Then we have the Advanced Crystal of Cadavers. It gives you critical damage rating, chance to gain spirit, which is again very important, and damage rating to energy powers. Now, this is very rare. I have only seen it drop one time. Crossbones Teaching Credentials, they drop from patrols. Of course, I don't have the Cosmic one, but it's still great. As you can see, it gives melee damage. We don't really need that. It gives damage to ranged powers. It gives strength, which isn't very great for our build, but also the crit rating and the brutal strike rating. And as you can see, when you land a critical hit, you gain brutal damage rating for 5 seconds, and you can stack that effect 3 times. So these are the things you want to be looking for. But I would say the most important thing is actually a catalyst that lets you restore spirit on medkit use. Now the rotation is with groups of enemies, or of course elites and bosses, start with a signature move. Then you can trigger the jungle snare to do additional damage, and the unseen predator for additional damage. Then you use cryo dagger, and then start throwing fan of knives and mines, and you use all the powers till they come up. Most important, always go back to cryo dagger as soon as it's up, and use fan of knives. And in addition, use your medkit not only for healing, use it to restore spirit regularly, so you don't run out. Now let's start with Pyro and see how it goes.
Burn, baby, burn!
Now we throw the mines. You see the damage numbers pop. That was fan of knives. My summons are out. Cryo daggers up again. We throw it. Jungle snare. Throw the mines. Now of course he has missile shield, which actually slows down my projectiles, which is a bit annoying, but it's not that bad.
That cannot be done.
And actually I have a visual glitch right now. As you can see, my resources aren't going down, so that's not very helpful, but you get the basic idea.
You burned me out.
There we go.
May
And
all my enemies be so skilled as you.
Oh, we got a legend, Cosmic Pyro Medal. Let's check it out. Maybe it's even better. Of course it's not. Yeah, with the Pyro Medallion, you want to go for critical damage rating, but preferable brutal damage rating. So it takes some farming, but I have a feeling it's better than, of course, having to farm for boss artifacts, because that actually takes forever. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and good luck with the Cosmic Trial. Bye bye.
Some prey can only be hunted by the Black Panther.